Piers Morgan. We all know who Piers Morgan is, man. I mean, he was on ITV. He used to do ITV morning news, and he basically had a hissy fit, dropped off because the weatherman said something along the lines about him and who was it? Meghan Markle. Apparently they had a fling back in the day, or he asked her out or something along those lines, and she turned him down, so he kind of stormed off. I really do, I think it was about that anyway, but I thought that was kind of like a weak move from Piers. I thought he would have come back to do ITV, because he was brilliant. You'd get vegans, feminists, and I'm not talking about just normal feminists and vegans. Like, you can be what you want to be. These are like extremist feminists, extremist vegans that would come on and really try and debate and argue with Piers about how everyone should stop eating processed foods and meats from like McDonald's and all these things. And he would go along the lines of, it's not the fact you're vegan, it's the fact you're trying to make people that aren't vegan and don't want to be vegan. And that's where I liked him, because he spoke the truth and he was real. Andrew Tate, we all know who Andrew Tate is, man, by now. Everyone who watches this video will know who Andrew Tate is. Like, he is blown up worldwide. And again, he's got the same, I feel like him and Piers Morgan are very similar when it comes to point of views in the world and what they believe in. But we're going to watch this debate and see for ourselves what happens. Is it going to be a heat debate? Is it going to be, you know, are they going to come to terms with each other? And is it just going to be kind of like a chill debate? I have no idea what to expect.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
True.
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression, because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind, and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
This summer, every major social media platform amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people who watch him. But copies of his videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
And the thing is, do you know, this is why you have to be, I'm not saying that Andrew Tate isn't careful. He's a smart man and he can back up his points, but you have to be careful of what you say now on social media and in the internet, because if you go, I find 19-year-old women more attractive than 25-year-old women or 26-year-old women, and don't back up your answer, you're going to get hate for it. And I understand where he's coming from. It's not necessarily that they're more attractive. It's more along the lines of they'll probably be virgins, or they won't have had a committed relationship before. You'll be the first older guy. Like, how old Andrew Tate? 20 in his 28, 29, 30. So even though for me, if I was that age, I would never go for a young girl like that if I was single. But let's just say a 25-year-old goes out with a 19-year-old girl, right? He's probably, because she hasn't been in a committed relationship before, she doesn't understand, like, she hasn't been through the ups and downs in a relationship before. She's going to be more pure as a girl or turn into a younger woman, right? So wouldn't you rather that than a woman that has baggage, has been in loads of relationships and it hasn't worked, maybe ended up being pregnant or having a child once? Like, that's why the older women get, they have more baggage, because they slept with loads of men, or they've had children with other men, and now they're trying to find relationships. And it's like, men that are high value, like Andrew Tate, and he is high value, man. And that's why I don't understand, like, modern women want the high value man. They want the man that's rich, has nice cars, all these things that's going on. But you're not going to get that kind of man, because that kind of man is looking for a pure woman, someone that doesn't have sex with loads of men, someone that hasn't had a baby and wants him to be the stepfather and all this stuff. That's what he's trying to say. But again, when you just kind of say, or when you just say 19-year-olds are more attractive to 26-year-olds, and you don't have a point there to back it, that's when the baggage is going to come. That's when the hate's going to come in.
I can't.
You know why I'm asking you?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that. But yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old.
Of course
woman,
you can.
And I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
No,
because
it's
you are
not.
encouraging a
It's
mindset
not.
about 25-year-old
He's not encouraging.
that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19.
He is not encouraging anything.
And having effectively
It's your
been
point of view.
having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or
Exactly.
19-year-old woman
Exactly.
is
It's
more
Pretty
desirable.
anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny.
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that
ageist.
women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age
You're
is
saying
different.
18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than
He's
25.
saying about age,
Ageist, perhaps, but misogynistic,
age.
absolutely
Is that
not.
really? But you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
If a 26-year-old woman is watching this, and
I
has
love
heard
Piers,
those
bro.
comments,
Yeah.
would you just say to her,
Got good
I'm sorry,
interviewing
I shouldn't have
techniques,
said
man.
that.
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't
and-
mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a
They
conversation.
have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation
They're not
to
allowed
have.
to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for women that you
I was mediating.
applaud?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an
Is that there are
excuse.
parts of the world where this is fine.
My
So
friend.
my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine.
Are you going
I
to
live
let
in
him
a
answer the
world
damn
where-
don't think
questions
it's
or
fine.
not?
The reason
This
I
isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what?
He's trying, but you keep talking over him, you idiot. This is why Piers Morgan gets on my nerves. His interviewing techniques are very good, and I can see how he can get answers out of people, but it's like Andrew Tate's too smart for that. Like, I'd rather you have a more of a professional debate. Like, don't be hammering someone like Andrew Tate. Do it to murderers. Do it to people that commit crimes. I've seen him do it before. I've seen him do it to people that are extremist vegans that want to turn the world into vegan. Like, they want to turn everyone into... Don't try and do this to Andrew Tate. He's too smart for your ass, man.
With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view...
But
held
you
by
can't
other
even let
parts
him
of
answer
world,
the question.
It's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
That doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable...
Is that a truth, then?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to
Man,
material
that's sad, man.
that may have influenced her in a negative way,
sad.
and in addition, what started as depression and become a much more
14 years
serious
old.
depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father,
terrible.
her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
Ask you what your response
that's the
is.
first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact
Yeah,
that
I don't know
14-year-old
why he's
took
brought that
life
up.
is truly sad. The world we live in today is the world we live in. The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview
I don't know why he brought
is
that up.
that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
But I'd say it differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's an acceptance, not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand.
Thing with social media, yeah. Like, let's play this video through, and then we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
Yeah. Well said, man. Well said. Listen, I don't know why people hate him, to be honest with you. Like, I always, what's crazy is that's what the world needs. The world needs truth. And it's like, as soon as someone comes up, like Andrew Tate, and speaks about truth, everyone hates him for it. It's like, when he I don't know whether it was him, may have been Kevin Samuels, but they were talking about overweight women. It's like, women want to come on their show. Oh, why can't I get a man? There ain't enough men out here for me and all this. Well, why don't you look at your problems? Maybe it's because the fact that you're overweight, and that's why you can't get a man, because most men, and again, there are exceptions, but most men don't like overweight women. So go to the gym, go and work out. And it's like, people get offended by that because we live in a snowflake society, which it's so true. We do live in a snowflake society. People get offended by, oh, maybe you should go to the gym. You're a bit over your current weight. Oh no, I'm not. Like, and then people want to put up their backs because you're rude. Well, if I never told you that in the first place, maybe you wouldn't even have stepped into the gym. And it's, and with many of the other things that he comes out with, man, I believe in. Don't get me wrong. I feel like he can be over exaggerative sometimes. I think he can overdo it, and they're the ones where I'm like, come on, mate, like you can be real, but like don't call women bitches and all these things. Like, that's what I don't agree with. I would never call a woman a bitch. Like, I just feel like it's wrong. It's really a kick in the teeth for me. Like, I wouldn't be swearing at women and all that kind of stuff. But apart from that, I do agree with most of the stuff he comes out with. But again, that, bless her soul, I heard about that 14-year-old girl took her life because of the social medias and the things that she was receiving on the other end. Like, just listen, social media is probably more negative than positive. In a positive sense, there are people content creators out there that are trying to be positive and trying to be real with younger teenagers and trying to get them out of the matrix and all those kind of things. But there are a lot of negative people out there, and some people don't even realize they're doing it. Most of the time, why do we use social media? Like, the average person uses social media to what? Flaunt their life, show off their life, show off where they are, what they're wearing, what they look like, all these things. And it's like, you can do that for sure, but most people's intentions are to show off, to kind of say, look at me, I've got the best life, I've got a great life. And most people that have mental disorders or are mentally incapable of taking that information in, and they take it as a negative, that's where you're seeing depression. That's where you see anxiety, because you look at people like that and it's like, you don't have that, so your life must be terrible. You don't go on holiday, so that means your life is terrible. You don't go out, you don't have any friends, and you don't drink and all that, your life must be terrible. And it's like, people don't even realize that they're doing that. That's why, if you go on my Instagram, okay, I do have some holiday pics from me and my girlfriend, but the only reason why I would post them is because I'm with my girlfriend, it's the occasion. But I never go out my way to post videos and stuff like that on my story. I hardly post any videos on my story, Instagram story, TikTok. Or if you go and look at my TikTok, most of the videos I make on my TikTok is positive. It's majority for guys, younger guys who are trying to maybe get out the 9 to 5 or try and follow their dreams and their dream jobs and careers and all that, and I'm trying to be positive to them and help them out. But if you go, I hardly post any Instagram stories where I'm at on the weekend, what I'm doing. Oh, I've got a nice bottle of champagne. Like, I don't do all of that, because I know that there are people out there. This is how much I care about the younger generation. I know for a fact there are guys, women out there that don't have that. They don't have that lifestyle. They don't have the freedom to go out into London. They don't have the freedom to drive. They don't have the, I know that. That's why I don't bother doing it, because I'm not just thinking about myself. I'm thinking about everyone else. And that's where we need to come to terms with, like, and again, people can start to do it, but the majority won't. Majority will keep going, because we're so deep into social media now, and the patterns and the things we post, it's you can't escape that now. That's how Instagram, Snapchat, that's how they make their money. That's how they make their money. You can't completely you can't completely disintegrate it. You just can't do it. The only thing you can do is be a positive content creator, or someone that wants to be positive on social media, and teach the younger generation, teach people that are vulnerable, that it's okay, that you're not the only one. Because the more people we have on social media like that, the better for this generation. And again, Andrew Tate, if you go through some of his videos, not like those like, oh yeah, I can get any hole and all this shit, like, don't watch those. Watch the videos where he's real, where he does talk about real life things, and he really does try to tell the truth to younger men and women. Like, it's the same, both goes the same way. They both go the same way. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section what you thought of this video, man. Did Andrew Tate win that debate, or did Piers Morgan? Does Piers Morgan come across as, too full on there? Let me know in the comment section, guys.